capping it all up with an industry tour to some of the recycling facilities in Lagos, where what we are advocating is being practiced as we look for ways to forge business partnerships, circular economy business models between Lagos and Finland. The compare for today, and I'll be inviting to the stage, is Dr. Uyi Osage. Let's make welcome Dr. Uyi Osage. He's a compare for today. You're welcome, Doc. The keynote speaker, Professor Clinton Iberver, is already online, and the second keynote, Sami Sijala from Finland, is also online for the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the rest of the meeting. Dr. Osage.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for Dr. John. And let me welcome all of us once more. Yesterday was very exciting. It was an eye-opener, and information for those of us who joined online. We have been able to burrow down. We've extracted some of the things which hitherto were not so clear. And I'm sure by today, when we are standing up from this gathering, we'll be able to beat our chest and say, yes, we are ready to go and get it right up there. So without much ado, welcoming everybody that is here present, we'll hit the ground running. I understand Professor Clinton is already online waiting for us. So gentlemen and ladies, for the next 20 minutes, let's listen to Circular Economy and Solid Waste Management, Sustainable Futures for Africa by Professor Clinton. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I think I really appreciate the organizers of this event for inviting me to come and speak at your event this morning. I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate every opportunity to always contribute to what is being done within the context of Africa, and mostly in Nigeria. So permit me to, I'm going to kind of give more appreciations later. But for this morning, I'm going to be sharing very briefly on circular economy. I know you've had a whole lot of discussion on the talk yesterday. I'm going to be looking at circular economy and solid waste management for sustainable futures for Africa. Just to say that I'm in Nigeria myself also. At the moment, I'm deployed to South Africa, where we are really promoting the African 2063 agenda. So I think it permits me to kind of put a video to kind of increase the bandwidth within my area here. So I'm kind of promoting the African Agenda 2063, which we all know that this particular agenda envisions a prosperous continent with sustainable development at its core. And at the same time, the issue of solid waste management and circular economy really aligns with this particular vision. And I believe that with this vision, there's kind of really offering innovative pathways for us to see how to transform our waste, a lot of waste within Africa context, into resources. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to appreciate the vice chancellors of both universities, University of Eastern Finland, and also the University of Lagos. Thank you very much. And to the team leaders, Professor Preti and Professor Adebamowa, thank you very much for inviting me. And Dr. John, thank you very much. We worked some time. I really appreciate everyone that invited me to be part of this particular event this morning. Thank you very much. I don't take it for granted. It's a big privilege. So I'm going to go through this 7-point agenda this morning. I'm from the University of Johannesburg. I'm going to just talk about that in a minute. Then I will look at circular economy. What I want to really focus on this morning relates to circular economy business model. And I'm going to link it to how it can be applied within the Africa context, how the circular economy business model, the applications to us, how we can benefit, And I will also talk about some very brief, simplistic circular economy business models. And then I will try to link circular economy business model to the SDGs, how this particular understanding and thinking will enable us to kind of achieve the SDGs. Then I will just kind of take home messages, then I will conclude. I'm from the University of Johannesburg. I'm based in South Africa. We are kind of a large university, over 50,000 students, with students from over more than 80 countries. We are spread across 4 campuses. We have what we call the Dorofonte campus. This particular campus here is downtown Johannesburg. Then we have the Soweto campus here. Then we have another campus that is kind of outskirts of downtown Johannesburg called the Bounty Road campus. This is where I am at the moment. This is our main campus in Auckland Park. Yeah. And my university is spread across 7 faculties and a college. We used to be 9, 2 faculties were collapsed from a college. And that's basically the College of Business and Economics, where we have the Johannesburg Business School. But I'm from Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment. So if you ever come this way, you can just stop by. We can kind of have lunch together. I'll just discuss on some other things. Thank you very much. Yeah, so at the moment, there are different rankings for us, but I'm not going to talk about that. But the university is less than 20 years, but we kind of really doing well in terms of academic research and other impact rankings through what is kind of really shown to us. All right, that is where we are. So I'm going to jump right into my talk for this morning. The topic I've been given, as I said, relates to circular economy and solid waste management for sustainable futures for Africa. I try to kind of break them down into 3 dimensions, realizing that circular economy's integration with solid waste is an essential frontier for sustainable development in Africa. And we all know that is a continent that is filled with abundant resources, but yet we are challenged by solid waste issues. And the continent kind of really stand to gain immensely from embracing circular economy principles or circular principles. And I believe that this particular approach or this thinking will help us to reimagine waste, not just as something that we should discard, but as something that we can reuse. I call waste as resources that we can reuse, we can recycle, and much more we can also recover. And I strongly believe that a shift from the traditional linear mode of how we treat waste to a circular one will actually help us as a continent to actually reshape our economies, help to kind of really foster innovative thinking and much more. Some other benefits will relate to things like creation of jobs and protection of the environment. And one of the things you continent, either in Lagos, in Cairo, in Johannesburg, you realize that the challenges of solid waste, even in Accra, the challenges of solid waste management is kind of really going exponentially with urbanization and the economic development. In South Africa, for instance, there is issues in the city of Johannesburg where our landfills are actually estimated basically not to be able to receive further waste in the next 5 years. And I really kind of strongly think, based on everything we know, that circular economy offers a timely solution where we can actually turn these particular challenges into opportunities for sustainable growth, unlike the conventional make, use, dispose approach that we've kind of really emphasized in time past. So circular economy really emphasizes kind of how do we retain our materials within the economic cycle for as long as possible. I think that's the fundamental thing. And apart from just retaining it, how do we transform this waste into resources? And you realize that within the context of circular economy and solid waste management, there are various principles. They kind of really intertwine, because the whole idea is how do we optimize our resources? How do we reduce waste generation, and much more, how do we ensure that we are able to assure ourselves of environmental sustainability? Much more, that can help us to lead into economic viability. And within all this particular thinking, you realize that within the context of circular economy and waste management, which is more or less the same, we can say it's intertwined, there is the dimension we must adopt, which is the system thinking, because both approaches require systematic and holistic view of products and materials. So system thinking is critical. And in the circular economy, you realize that we need to the life cycle of a product from design to end of life. Whereas in solid waste management, we then have to kind of consider same thing, entire waste management hierarchy from the dimension of prevention down to the minimization to disposal. So I kind of look at them in terms of how they are intertwined, and then looking at the need for a shift from the traditional dimension to kind of looking at how do we also use waste management for sustainable future for Africa and much more contribute to the SDG. So I then have to break them down to like, okay, the whole idea leads to a point where one of the things that we need to kind of really look at is the circular economy business model, not just looking at circular economy as a standalone word, but if we add a business thinking to it, how will it actually enable us to kind of have that particular shift from the linear economic model to a circular approach that will kind of help us to kind of use our resources efficiently and reduce waste, whereas at the same time, we'll be able to address the issue of solid waste management, where we'll kind of really look at comprehensive strategies that will include things like how do we involve the community, how do we use technological innovations, much more. The dimension within all this is strong regulation. We need regulations. And the last SDG 17 talks about partnership. How do we then forge collaborative partnership, which I think this whole event is all about, looking at the aspect of Finland collaborating with Nigeria. So, ladies and gentlemen, the linear economy, as we all know, is that traditional economic model which follows a straight line. From the extraction of our materials to the production of goods, we consume the goods, and ultimately we dispose it. And this particular ideal of the take-make waste approach kind of really contrasts the circular economy, which emphasizes the circular use and recycling of our resources. And with that, it means that we have to start thinking about the extraction, the production, down to even the economic vulnerability of our materials. And at the same time, you get to realize that within the linear economy, there is no resilience. There is kind of a lot of waste generation, there's environmental pollution. And within that understanding that it lacks resilience, because the linear economy is kind of really less resilient to shock, such as resources scarcity or market changes. And at the end of the day, there is the inability for it to be flexible. So you realize that we need to move from this particular approach into the other thinking, which we have extensively spoken of yesterday, which is the circularity, or looking at it. CE is that economic model which aims to minimize waste and making the most of it. That is what circular economy is saying. And from all the understanding is that it's a shift from the linear economy where our goods are made, where our goods are used, and we discard them to say, okay, how do we then bring in the dimension of refurbishment, remanufacture, and much more to recycle? And at the end of the day, we then create what I kept hearing yesterday in terms of the closed loop system. So transitioning to a circular economy, you realize that it will need the whole cooperation, collaboration with government organizations, civil societies, whereas businesses are then able to recognize the unsustainable nature of the linear economy, and we are kind of really moving towards a circular model at the end of the day. So circular economy focuses on resource and making sure that we design and we are able to use our materials, kind of reuse it in a manner that ensures that waste are eliminated. And within the whole thinking of circular economy, ladies and gentlemen, is that circular economy represents a paradigm shift, as I've been saying, a paradigm shift where some of the core principles relate to things of how do we design out waste, because we need to create products in such a way that waste is minimized. I'm not saying it cannot really be eliminated altogether, but it's minimized from the very start of the manufacturing process. And this includes things like we then need to start selecting our materials that are recyclable. We need to use materials that are recyclable, that are biodegradable rather, and at the same time, we design products to be easily disassembled for reuse and recycling. Then this will then lead to the extended product life. We're then able to reuse and reuse again. We're able to recycle and upcycle, and much more. We're able to regenerate the natural system. Because in the whole thinking, in the whole concept of sustainable development is a regenerative thinking, where we emphasize the reuse of energy, regenerative practices that then help to restore our current natural system rather than depleting them. And within the same principle is the dimension of building economic, natural, and social capital. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that when we embrace these particular principles, the circular economy then help us to create the closed loop system where every dimension that we know in terms of waste minimization and environmental sustainability is assured. So I believe that the whole idea of circular economy and its principles both a holistic approach to economic development, kind of one that acknowledges that there is kind of really the finite nature of our planet's resources. There is kind of really depletion and we need to conserve it. So this leads me to the circular economy business model thinking. But first of all, we kind of two words that we need to unpack to look at, okay, what is the business model? And if you look at it from the point of understanding value proposition, to say that a business model generally deals with how organizations, how industries, how nations kind of create, how we capture, and at the same time we deliver value. So there's the dimension embedded of value proposition, which kind of really emphasize that we need to offer, we need to use our products and services in a sustainable manner. We need to reuse them. We need to basically look at how do we even upgrade them? Are they upgradable? And I think that the whole value proposition kind of really looking at how it creates value means that we need to not just to our customers, not just to our citizens, but to society at large, because we need to reduce our weight and much more. We then kind of really deep into the dimension of environmental impact. And I believe that there are various distribution methods within the circular economy thinking that we need to prioritize. So business models are integral to organizations in implementing kind of the necessary change, and it provides the needed, I believe that business model provide needed roadmap for successful adoption of the circular economy concept. Looking at it with the whole thinking to say, okay, what then is circular economy business model, to say that CBM kind of refers to, we see it as the two of the same coin, and is a model that kind of really tell us to say that we need to look at value. How do we create value? How do we ensure that every waste process, every organization kind of really deliver value, while at the same time we adhere to the principles of a circular economy at the end of the day. So the circular economy is an economic model, which we all know, focuses on preserving, upgrading. So if you look at it from the point of delivering of value, it means that it just goes beyond just kind of recycling of waste, but to say, how would these then benefit us? How would this kind of really be channeled into a process that would basically be let me say, it becomes it's kind of a cyclical approach where everything we manufacture is not just a waste, but it's reused, kind of really finding expression at various levels of our production process. And with that concept of circular economic business thinking comes this particular framework, because the action for circular businesses is that you need to adopt different thinking. And the common framework that has been used over time is the RESOLVE framework, which kind of RESOLVE is an acronym. But I want to say that the RESOLVE framework, ladies and gentlemen, is a tool which is often used to guide the development and implementation of circular economic business models generally. And within this particular tool, you look at things of how do we regenerate, focusing on renewable resources, how do we restore damaged ecosystem, how do we ensure that we're able to recover, how do we ensure that we're able to return and recover biological resources to the environment, and much more, how do we share, kind of really reusing collaborative consumption. Then you also think about the issues of optimize, how do we optimize what we have, improving the efficiency of product. Then you now look at the loop, where that's where the closed loop comes from, where we're able to keep resources and materials recycling. It's like you close the loop, then you visualize. So the RESOLVE framework provides a strategic approach, ladies and gentlemen, for businesses to transition towards a circular economy by identifying opportunities across the entire value chain. And I believe if you're looking at this particular RESOLVE framework, you can look at various examples. Let's say, for instance, a company that is focusing on the loop, because somebody can be asked to say, is it possible for companies to focus on all of them? Not really. But let's say a company that is focusing on the LOAP acronym might just look at the principle to say, how do we develop a business model around manufacturing and at the same time refurbishing used products? Whereas another company can also embrace the share principle in terms of the S to say, okay, how do we for a peer-to-peer rental of either the tools, either the buses or equipment, to say that you don't need, it's like what you see at the moment from the advent of COVID, where you have shared offices. You don't need to kind of really rent a formal office yourself, but you can use a shared office where you don't need to kind of really conserve your own resources. You just pay some money, you use the particular space. If you don't need it, you are in your house and other. So these principles kind of really fit into our current way of doing things. And some of the common circular economic business model include things like energy recovery, circular suppliers, having circular suppliers using renewable energies, or the issue of even locating your businesses within activities of efficient building. The other aspect which we kind of see every now and then is the dimension of recycling and of cycling. You know, this particular model on how do you turn waste materials into new products? You know, it's looking at tires, turning tires into new products. You see them kind of really made into nice couches these days. And recycling kind of also involve processing our waste into raw materials, and down to even bringing your own devices and looking at the aspect of how do we collect our waste internally and kind of reuse and refurbish them as against. That's why you see like some companies, some IT companies, they specialize in hiring of laptops. You don't need to buy laptops to run a firm anymore. You can hire. If you don't need it, you take it back, because if everybody keeps buying, we kind of really keep depleting the whole resources, the lithium batteries, and at their end of life, what do you do with them and all that? So bringing your own when users bring their own devices to get access to services is part of the circular economic business model. I mentioned of producing when demand is present, you know, when there is an order. You know, you look at even the e-hailing system, Uber and all that. You don't need the car to move anymore. You kind of make a demand when you need it and the car shows up. But even for core production processes, it's possible. Then lean thinking, waste reduction in the manufacturing production process, and remanufacturing and transformation of existing product. Then the aspect of technology, to say, okay, new technology shifting from physical products even to the cyber physical system, virtual, to say you don't always have to kind of travel somewhere to get a practical done, let's say for building student, for instance, and all that. So where can we apply these principles? How can they be applied within the context of Africa? I would say three basic things that, before I talk about some other ones, that in Africa, based on the African agenda and looking at where we are, that the principle is really applicable. I mean, they applied within the context of reducing our waste we generate. You know, here we need to emphasize recycling, reusing materials, because people always prefer to buy new ones. You know, that this particular thinking will help us to mitigate the solid waste problem that many African cities faces. You go to most African city capitals, you see waste everywhere. Job creation, which is another issue we have, that through repairing, through recycling, through upcycling, refurbishment, we can be able to create new jobs that will stimulate the local economy. And then the dimension which we all have come to know, sustainable development, that the whole application of circular economic business model is that we'll then be able to kind of really respond to the several UN, or let me call it this, development goals that kind of really faces all of us. We are then able to contribute to achieving environmental sustainability, and we're able to reduce poverty in many, many African countries. Some other expected gains relate to the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, ladies and gentlemen, because there's an environmental impact. Reduction of waste and pollution and more sustainable use of materials will help us to kind of really call that on greenhouse gas reduction through sustainable production and consumption. Also, energy cost reduction, when we reuse, when we kind of don't kind of produce from the scratch. You know, resources and material circularity will play a prominent role in driving energy saving. Also, there's the decreased waste generation from the whole closed loop system, where we reuse, we refurbish, and we repurpose materials instead of disposing them and creating new ones from the scratch. Then the other dimension which we are confronted with in the Amazon jungle, within Africa, within Nigeria, deforestation and all that. We're not able to keep resources in use for longer periods through this particular system that we have created. Then the other aspects relating to the gains of circular economic business model is the collaboration. We then think of kind of collaborate and rethink the way in which projects are made. We then realize that multidimensionality, transdisciplinary thinking comes in here, where we're able to foster collaboration by offering kind of different stakeholders working together from different industries. And as I said, one of the greatest expected gain and the benefit and application to Africa is kind of job creation, which we are really struggling with. And ILO kind of forecasts that businesses could create over 6 million jobs globally by 2030. And as I round up this morning, the other aspect is the looking at how can we link circular economic business model thinking to the SDGs. We all know that the SDGs, the goal is to end poverty, protect the planet, ensure that by 2030 and beyond then also, considering that even the African agenda is 2063, we should be able to see peace and prosperity within the continent and the broader part of the world. And I believe that circular economic business model presents business actions and opportunities necessary for achieving the SDGs. I'm just going to pick out some of them. Number one, SDG, I look at SDG 1, which kind of really wants to decrease the number of persons in danger of poverty by 2030. You see that. So if you look at it and look at the economic business model, you realize that this basically talks about that through the whole idea of circularity, we're able to create new jobs. It's like an action of creating new job opportunities through recycling, through manufacturing and maintenance services. And I believe that there are opportunities for the development of the new markets, new industries, which will focus on circular principles, thereby contributing to the economic growth at the end of the day. So circular economic practices will really kind of help to create more jobs. If you look at it with SDG6, SDG6 is to ensure availability and sustainable management of water, for instance. I'm linking this to solid waste management because you realize that solid waste management, which refers to the collection, the transportation, processing, recycling, disposal of solid waste, at the end of the day will become kind of really effective if we look at the protection of human health and the environment. And we know the challenges we have: rapid urbanization, limited informal waste sector and all that. So we then start thinking about through the circular economic business model, we're thinking of efficient water usage. How do we recycle our water? There's so much non-revenue water. We see a whole lot of water flowing everywhere within the cities and all that. Treatment even of our water within the production process. And I see opportunities here where we are then able as Africans to develop technologies and practices that will reduce water wastage and contamination. We saw this in South Africa in the 2 months ago, where a particular community had contamination of water, people lost their life. SDG 8 also, it will also help to ensure decent work and economic growth. Here, kind of really encouraging recycling and all that. We're able to emphasize decent work conditions, CBM or circular economic business model. We encourage fair labor practices, equal opportunities, and a productive work environment. And there's the creation of new market also. It will open up new markets. And I believe that the SDG 8 is intricately kind of connected to the principle of circular economy in all dimensions, because by rethinking how products are made, how they are used, how they are disposed, we are then able to emphasize decent work conditions. And CBN, we kind of really contribute to achieving the goals of inclusivity and at the same time looking at sustainable economic growth and employment. And SDG 12, where we kind of really look at responsible consumption. The closed loop economy will really ensure that production and consumption are done in a sustainable way. And in this particular SDG, looking at it from the lens of circular economic business model, we're then able to design products for longevity, where products are repairable, we're able to recycle them. And at the same time, we create new market for recycled and manufactured products. It might not that people will kind of really accept easily. It all depends on how it is packaged. And at the same time, we have a good life cycling process in place to ensure that it doesn't really kind of harm the users. And I'm going to round up shortly, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at it within SDG 13, which kind of really say, how do we take climate action? You realize that the circular economic business model thinking kind of really focused to say, we need to take immediate action to address the climate change issues. Here, we need to ensure that productions are done in a sustainable way. And thus, we'll be able to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases every now and then. And I need to take here is to think about reducing emissions through efficient resources reusage, energy recovery, we kind of even energy capture and much more use of sustainable materials. And the opportunity within this particular circular economic business model within SDG 13 is that it will position Africa as a leader in sustainability, where we are actually able to attract eco-conscious consumers and potentially we're actually able to develop regulatory incentive that will benefit everyone. And lastly, before my take note messages is that it will also feed into the dimension of partnership for the achievement of the goal, because we need to ensure that production needs are implemented and revitalized by global partnership. We can't do it alone. No man is an island. We need to look at development of global partnership for sustainable development, because I'm very convinced that collaborative effort between government, businesses, local communities, ladies and gentlemen, will lead to strategies that we consider Africa's unique cultural and socioeconomic context. Thereby, the implementation of circular economic business model thinking will help solid waste management, which we then have far-reaching benefits, kind of really moving from conserving natural resources, reducing pollution, to creating employment, and also stimulating economic growth. So I believe that it is an innovative and promising path that will help us to align with global sustainability goals, which will then place Africa at the forefront of environmental stewardship and responsible development. So as I round up, my take-home messages are just into prompts this morning to say, from everything I have been saying and from what the conference is, the workshop is also saying, is that we need to think holistic approach to waste management. That is critical. We need to look at holistic approach to waste management, where we are upcycling, where we prioritize reusing materials, where we prioritize recycling. It will then help the African nations to reduce landfill bodies. There's so much landfill bodies. We're able to create jobs, we're able to stimulate local economies. Then we move beyond the current linear disposal models that we have. And secondly, you also look at it from the point of local innovation and global solutions, because with this, the whole concept, the idea aligns with global sustainability targets, while at the same time, we cater to the specific needs and the challenges that we have faced as Africans. And collaboration, as I said, will then foster homegrown solutions, because I don't believe that solutions within the Far East or North can be applied here. We can be able to use the collaboration to foster homegrown solutions that can have a broader global impact, looking at how they do it in Europe, vis-a-vis the cultural dimension of Nairobi, of Ghana, to kind of create a broader impact. And lastly here is the dimension of resilience. Another take-home message that don't forget resilience and economic growth, because circular economic business model will help us to kind of create a pathway for sustainable economic growth, resilience, competitiveness, much more. This will then position us as leaders to create opportunities for investment and collaboration. And lastly is the take home on social inclusivity or social inclusion and environmental protection. I don't know, this is basically what we all know this, but I want to say that by recognizing and kind of supporting the informal waste sector, we need to kind of then look at how to improve the working conditions, invest in community-driven solutions, because at the end of the day, the circular approach will create inclusivity, equitable within our community, and then environmentally responsible future for Africans. And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the circular economy business model and circular economic thinking present a transformative, kind of really present an opportunity and approach for solid waste management in Africa, which paved the way for sustainable future for us. Unlike the linear model we have described, the circular economy emphasizes the reduction, reuse, recycling, and recovery of materials. As you see in many African countries, the mismanagement of solid waste kind of contribute to environmental degradation and health risk. We see this over time, as I explained, like what happened in Johannesburg like 2 weeks ago. By adopting these principles, I believe that we can be able to address these challenges, and collaboration between governments is vital for us. There must be a shift to circular economy in solid waste, not only help us to conserve natural resources and reduce pollution, but it will also create job opportunities and stimulate economic growth. So I really strongly believe that by implementing the circularity thinking in solid waste management, Africa kind of really, it presents us not just an environmental necessity, but also it's kind of really going to fit also into our socio-economic opportunity, which we align to the broader global sustainability goals so that we're not left behind. So I see it as a promising path that requires a consistent effort, innovation, and commitment to actually materialize. So I believe that through all these particular models and the thinking, we have a very good opportunity to actually be able to solve some of the problems that we are having at the moment. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to other deliberations in this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Clinton. I think that was a brilliant one. Two things. I think it was Albert Einstein that says energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but you can transfer it from one form to another. Similarly, many years ago, it was brought to my knowledge that waste is only waste to the person to whom it is waste. I don't know whether I'll get that. So waste is only waste to the person to whom it is waste. So what one person sees as waste, some other person sees it as wealth. And I think that is the text of what Professor Clinton has given us in the last 20 minutes. We're recognizing some guests that are here present as we move on to the next on our agenda. Please join me as we welcome Dr. Kenny Odubemi. Thank you so much, sir. In a short while, we'll be hearing from him. Also, welcome with me, Dr. Femi Adegoke. He's the President, Lagos Recyclers Association. Most importantly, because I'm calling the person last as it were, but most importantly, or very importantly, we also have here in our midst the Director Poverty Alleviation, representing the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Lagos State, Mrs. Salami Oluwatoyin. Thank you so very much for honoring this invitation. So we move swiftly to the next, which is going to be a video play by Sami Sojala, Circular Economy and the Finnish Innovation Fund, SITRA. Gentlemen, happy listening.
Dear guests and speakers, greetings from the Finnish Innovation Fund SITRA. It is my honor to be invited here today to provide insights to the circular economy from a Finnish point of view and the work that our organization SITRA has been doing on accelerating circularity already for quite some time. My name is Sami Syrjälä and I work as a project coordinator on SITRA's global collaboration team that is working together with our international stakeholders to advance circular economy and that is responsible for the organizing of one of the world's biggest circular economy related events, the World Circular. Dear guests and speakers, greetings from the Finnish Innovation Fund SITRA. It is my honor to be invited here today to provide insights to the circular economy from a Finnish point of view and the work that our organization SITRA has been doing on accelerating circularity already for quite some time. My name is Sami Syrjälä and I work as a project coordinator on Sitra's global collaboration team that is working together with our international stakeholders to advance circular economy and that is responsible for the organizing of one of the world's biggest circular economy related events, the World Circular Economy Forum. First, I would like to provide a bit of information about the Finnish Innovation Fund Sitra, in case you're not familiar with our organization. We are a future-oriented fund that has a mission to promote qualitative and quantitative economic growth of Finland. Our operations are funded by the returns from our investment capital, originally granted by the Finnish Parliament. However, we are not accountable to any government in power, and this makes us an independent operator. We have 3 strategic teams to tackle the challenges posed by the global megatrends: sustainability solutions, fair data economy, and democracy and participation. The common factor in all our activities is our vision. Finland will prosper by building a fair, sustainable, and inspiring future that ensures people's well-being within the limits of the Earth's carrying capacity. We often call ourselves as a think, do, connect tank, as it resembles the work that we do. We act as a think tank, promote experiments and operating models, and catalyze cooperation. As I mentioned, we started our work on circular economy as one of the global forerunners. In 2016, Finland was the first country in the world to prepare a national roadmap to circular economy under the leadership of our organization. The roadmap brought together the key actors' views on the essential changes and actions that are required for the transition to circular economy. It provided vision and destination, which are important to ensure that the change is approached systematically. The roadmap was constructed in close cooperation with government ministries as well as almost 50 other representatives from public, private, and third sectors. This involved policymakers, businesses, teachers, researchers, labor unions, and other stakeholders already from the start, clearly communicating the benefits and making everyone feel committed to the same journey. Ever since its publication, good progress has been made in the implementation of the roadmap's measures, and during the 2 years after the publication of the original roadmap, the circular economy has established itself in the public discourse in Finland and materialized at a practical level as concrete actions. Since the launch, we as Sitra have also invested in the promotion of the circular economy and launched dozens of circular economy experiments, which can be found from our website www.sitra.fi. We continued with the updated version of the roadmap, which was published in 2019. This version also includes descriptions of the essential circular economy measures to which Finnish stakeholders have already committed themselves. And in 2020, Sitra also published a guide for creating a national circular economy roadmap, which has proven to be a successful tool for advancing global collaboration around circular transition and the useful lessons that we have learned in this process. This circular economy roadmap guide, as well as the updated version of the roadmap, are also available on our website. In 2021, Finland saw a cross-sectoral strategic program to advance the circular economy as the Finnish government wanted to strengthen Finland's role as the leader in the circular economy. The concept of circular economy has been translated into actions embedded in more and more organization work plans at different levels. And what is distinct about this program is that it sets targets related to material consumption. Primary raw material consumption in 2035 will not exceed that in 2015. The productivity of resources will double during the same time period, and the circular material use rate CMU will also double by 2035. Today, there are numerous growing small and medium-scale enterprises in Finland that are creating revenue from circularity, and many large Finnish companies have also realized the need for circular transition and the business potential that it can provide. Sitra has compiled a list of the most inspiring companies in circular economy in Finland to demonstrate what being a circular business means in practice. Later, we compiled a list of inspiring solutions around the globe, and last year we created a similar list for inspiring circular companies from Africa as part of the World Circular Economy Forum 2022, which was organized in Kigali, Rwanda, to showcase the innovation potential of the African youth. We also published an article series on the opportunities of circular economy in Africa, highlighting the obstacles that these young innovators face in scaling up their operations. As the importance of circularity's role in tackling not only climate change and resource overconsumption, but also the root causes of biodiversity loss are increasingly understood, we will also create a list of leading European businesses that are profitable and have the potential to halt the biodiversity loss. This list will be published at the World Circular Economy Forum 2024. Related to the importance of implementing circular economy in tackling the biodiversity loss, CITRA launched first of its kind study that analyzes and quantifies the role of circularity in halting and reversing global biodiversity loss. It focuses on 4 sectors that are responsible for driving the largest share of biodiversity loss, and within each sector identifies the most effective interventions, as well as their economic opportunities. As well as the other materials I described, this study is also available on our website. So a lot has happened since the publication of the Finnish National Circular Economy Roadmap. In 2017, after the launch of the roadmap, the first World Circular Economy Forum held in Helsinki. It was CITRA's gift to the world on the 50th anniversary of our organization. We understood that as a small northern economy that is dependent on exports, Finland's pioneering policies and actions will not translate into well-being if the rest of the world moves in a different direction. These changes we need to make Finland to tackle the sustainability crisis are such that they cannot be implemented in silos, and they will not work unless they are also implemented elsewhere in Europe and globally. However, we understood that there was no global forum that linked together the use of natural resources and energy, economic cooperation, administration, and business sector. The idea of a forum that would take a broad and inclusive perspective on the circular economy was already growing strong, and it seems that we hit the bullseye. Today, the World Circular Economy Forum is a global success story and the ground jewel of CITRA, a landmark event of the year that brings together business leaders, policymakers, and experts to present the world's best circular economy solutions. Since the first forum in 2017, the forum has been organized in Yokohama, Japan, in 2018 co-hosted with us and the Ministry of Environment of Japan. In 2019, the forum returned back to Helsinki with the aim to scale up the circular transition. And because of the COVID pandemic, in 2020 we organized the forum online with a strong focus on supporting green recovery after the pandemic. In 2021 we organized 2 forums, WCF plus Climate in Netherlands, with emphasis on the linkages between circular economy and climate change mitigation, and WCF 2021 in Toronto, Canada. In 2022 we took the concept for the first time to Global South as the forum was organized in Kigali, Rwanda, with the main question: how Africa can contribute to global circular economy, what are the strengths of Africa that can inspire others, and what kind of actions and support are necessary to ensure a development where circular principles play a key role. This year, after a break, we returned back to Helsinki with a strong emphasis from asking why circular economy is a must to how we can accelerate the change. Although circularity is receiving a lot of buzz, the main challenge is to make this into concrete action, as we can see if we, for example, look at the annual circularity gap reports provided by Circular Economy. Businesses are the key driver for the circular transition, and it is important to ensure that they have also access to financing and are supported by public regulation. Circular economy education is also an important factor to consider to ensure that there is labor with adequate skills. We must understand that circular businesses can tackle not only climate change and resource overconsumption, but also biodiversity loss. One of the key messages of this year's forum was circular companies' need for funding. WCF 2023 showcased examples of profitable businesses based on private finance, and at the event, world's leading multilateral development banks announced their combined efforts to collaborate to accelerate financing for circular economy solutions. Finally, we highlighted that youth plays the key role in advancing circular transition. Youth has the imagination, creativity, and energy to reimagine what is possible, and we hope that our efforts to impact financing and policy field will encourage young innovators in their efforts. And now we are about to start the next chapter of the WCF story. The next forum will be hosted in Brussels, and it will focus on the future priorities and actions, not only in Europe, but globally. We have just created a proposal to the next European Commission, put nature at the heart of decision-making and continue the European Green Deal. The next European Commission should adopt an ambitious agenda to make Europe a pioneer in harnessing innovation and markets to preserve biodiversity. What we need is European Green Deal 2.0, and our proposal is available on our website. We have also worked on a positive and sustainable lifestyle test, now for and with the European residents, to close the gap between climate awareness and individual action. This test, called PS Lifestyle, will inspire the users to adopt a positive, sustainable, and healthier lifestyle by helping them reduce their environmental impact and by providing tailored inspiration to reconsider day-to-day activities to make them more sustainable. So these are some of the work streams that we have been doing and what we are currently doing to accelerate the change. I hope that presenting some of the ways and examples that we as Sitra and Finland have taken and what we see as the biggest challenges and most important action points to accelerate global transition have been inspiring to you. If you have any further questions or if you're interested to hear more about some of the works that are presented to you here today, feel free to contact me by email at sami.syrjala@sitra.fi, and I will be happy to provide deeper insights to our work. It has indeed been a great honor to present to you today, and I wish an inspiring discussions for the rest of this meeting. Thank you very much.
The sound quality was not so sharp. Am I right? Okay, don't worry. We have representatives from camera. You can beam the satellite on them. They are Finnish Nigerians. So once you ask questions, they'll be able to answer you in Nigeria accents, and you understand what they are saying. So thank you very much, Sami, for that. They just give us the dimension of how they went about it, innovating the circularity in Finland. So do we have any question at this point? If there's anything, you probably picked one or two and you were not so clear. We have, okay, there's one hand up. That's one. Any other? Okay, sir, I'll give you the mic. Introduce yourself and hit your question.
Good morning, everyone. That's not a question per se. Dr. David from economics. From the last speaker, so he was saying that we need to produce on demand. And in the process, growth, can be stimulated. So I want to say that, of course, in ensuring a circular economy, we try to reduce waste to the minimum level. That's not producing on demand. I think the right thing should be to produce in such a way that you can stimulate demand. Otherwise, the economy will not grow. So with the circular economy, what's quite important is to produce in a sustainable manner, what we call a green economy, in such a way that you keep producing and any waste that is being generated, they are being recycled and the economy keeps growing without degenerating the environment. So that's the contribution I want to make.
I hope you got that. Any comments or question further? So it's a fine place to leave it here. As we will take a short break, tea break, and we expect us to be back here by 11:40. Thank you so much. We can break for the tea break.
come to smoke cannabis. Doctor say make a pop one of this. Make me fly like say I'm Aladdin. Come bring some kind melodies. Oh, mama, myself no do pass like this. So many things inside of my jeans. I slide down the beatings.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going straight to the panel section. Let's come in as we start right away. Ladies and gentlemen, let's come in for the panel section. Thank you.
Welcome back from tea break. That was much needed because of the weather. And I'm sure we have all warmed up. All right, just a few information before we start. There is a questionnaire. There's a questionnaire that we have prepared for this program. Just 2 pages, a 2-page questionnaire. If you have not gotten it, please just indicate Dr. Shotibe will reach you and hand you a copy. It's expedient with this questionnaire. It's very critical to what we are doing and the conversations we are having here. So let's please do that. So welcome back once more. Our panelists are here seated, and I want to introduce the person that will be anchoring this particular session. No other person than the chair of this committee here in Lagos, Nigeria. Please join me as I make welcome Dr. T.I. Salau. You see, he looks like a chairman. Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everybody. You're welcome back from the tea break. You're welcome to the panel discussion session of this event. We have in person, in attendance, 20 personalities that will be discussing this issue with us. The issue we are discussing here is circular economy, infrastructure, design, technology, environment, climate change, research, innovation, and business opportunities. So we have as a panelist who are already here, and I will introduce one after the other. We have Dr. Roundtable is the president of Local Recycling Association. You're welcome. Thank you very much. We also have the US Lagos Ministry of Human Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. You are here, ma. You are presenting us. Thank you very much. Okay. We also have Mr. Ken Yodubumi here. Thank you very much. You're welcome. We have okay. Yeah, no, because representing. Okay.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you. We have representing the Minister of Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Allegation, Mrs. Alani from Yeah, I just got the name now. You're welcome. Also, to discuss this around, or the representatives around, you can come to the head table, the following people. The Labor Standard Agency. If he's there or is representing here, let's have him. Competitive Agency, last one. Mr. Hamad, RSML, CEO of Martins West Africa Limited. If he's there or has somebody has sent to represent him, can come to the out table. We also have a respectful German panel and the monitoring agency, last panel. From his agent is there, let's let him come forward. Thank you very much. I want to inform you that each panelist has a time frame of 10 minutes to make his presentation. After questions, comments, and observations. So I'm starting with Dr. Femi Adébáyọ̀, the President of Lagos State Circular Association, who was speaking on the interface of exploration and recycling in Lagos. So, 10 minutes. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I will get my slide. So,
Yeah, just one moment, please. I'd like to invite the chairperson, the president of the Waste Speakers Association. You are also on this panel. Please come to the panel. You're most welcome. I'd like to also invite representative of the Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Agency, LASPEMA. If the representative of LASPEMA is here, please come to the table. Thank you.
Sorry, do you have my slide? So that I can. Or I can just start. Oh, okay. No, don't worry. I can talk through it if you don't have it. I can talk through it. So yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm here to talk about the interface of waste management and recycling in Lagos State. So what I have the slide I prepared as cultivate recycling solution to economic and social and environmental problems. So naturally, we all generate waste. And as long as people live and we practice resource inefficiency, we're going to generate waste. But like us who are in the waste management industry, the recycling industry, we don't see waste. What you call waste is resource. So I always come with this saying that waste is a resource and not a problem. But there is need for a sustainable waste management system to cover that value, because like every other resources that has value, waste also has value. We need a waste management system, a sustainable waste management system to deliver that value. And in waste management hierarchy, the most valuable is actually reduction. Can we do without waste? Then can we use, or can we recover? But in the absence of all of that, we found out that recycling is actually global accepted depending on where you are. It's globally accepted for managing our waste, especially municipal solid waste, because most of the municipal solid waste generated are actually possibly or recyclable. So, Lagos State, when we found out it estimatedly, Lagos State generated 13,000 to 16,500 tons of waste daily. And for a total of 2 million people, generating a minimum, 26 million people generating a minimum of 0.5 kilogram per head. So, what happened is this characterization has been done with this amount of enormous waste that we generate in Lagos State. Oh, okay. So, part of that humongous volume ends up in open dump sites and indiscriminate dumps around us. And it's a problem. That's when it becomes a problem. So, what has been happening in Lagos, at least in the last almost 20 years, is we add the PSP, the private sector participation in collection and waste. And in the last 3-5 years, the recycling has been brought forth to the mainstream. But having said that, the policy statements to recycling still not forward, because recycling can actually be a tool to develop the circular economy, and we can get wealth from our waste. Is we are both formal and informal sector. In this sector, in Lagos State, I was saying that 70% of the industry, the recycling industry, is mainly informal. 70%. Only about 30% that it's formal. But what we've done in recent time is to be able to work together and kind of formalize the informal sector. Because for a very long time we've been working in silos. When we work in silos, we don't get the necessary result or the required result that is needed in our system. So today, I am here to tell us more about what is recyclable, the waste that we generate. Organic waste takes up for almost 50% of our waste in Lagos State. And we're not even talking about it. Most of what we do, we talk about plastic, we talk about paper, we talk about cotton. The organic waste that we generate every day, that ends up in the dump site, that gives us the stench that we all complain about, that we don't want to hear. More to the climate change because of the release of greenhouse gas emission. When organic waste is left in the open, it causes and emits methane gas. Methane gas in itself is not a problem, but if it's left in the open, it's a problem. But if it's captured, it's a resource. That's why I said earlier on, cost is actually not a problem for the resource. But you need a sustainable waste management system to deliver value in that resource. So what we're saying now is the policy statement on waste diversion. Are we diverting our waste from landfill or dump site as we have it in Nigeria and in Lagos? We need to have a direction that will include all stakeholders, every stakeholder, from the manufacturers to the consumers, to the private sector, to the informal sector, to financial institutions. We need everyone on board for this to be able to sustain what we're looking at. So, also, apart from just the policy statement on municipal waste diversion, we need action pillars And those action pillars will be advocacy and public enlightenment, which will lead to reduction of waste generation, which is the most favorable, and then source segregation and separate collection, which leads to qualitative resource recovery. And we are deploying suitable treatment options. These are the pillars. And deploying suitable treatment options, that's when we look at recycling. And also the fourth pillar is enabling the market environment, which is what we talk about when we're talking about circular economy. Because in the earlier presentation, Dimon, you saw the circular business model. So we need to work inward and be able the circular model, the circular business model by product integration into the mainstream market. What does that mean? I am a recycler. I take plastic waste, I take organic waste, not organic waste compost. But there is no acceptance in the market. The Ministry of Agri, the government, the farmers, they don't want to use organic compost. Everyone wants to use the chemical fertilizer. But organic compost is introduced into the market as incentives. Farmers use organic recyclers, more incentive to be able to do more. Because I can tell you, in Lagos Valley, we have approximately 8,000 tons of organic waste. Based on the gaps and needs analysis that were done earlier this year, which I was part of, that we already have private infrastructures that can actually cater for about 8,000 tons organic waste daily. But because the collection is not right, they are actually a more 200 daily. So they have invested their money, their knowledge, their time, but they're not getting the material because we have one collection. There's combination in most of the organic waste that they get, which we cannot use. And it's not just for organic waste, that's across all the recyclable that we can get in others. So what are we suggesting? What I'm saying is we need to set diversion target. Like I said, one of the pillars is the self-segregation and separate collection. The interface between waste collection, waste management, and recycling, it's like a Siamese twins. If you want to get our waste management to a sustainable level, we need to develop our recycling industry. It's much. Thank you very much. If you need to analyze our waste management at a sustainable level, you need to identify our process of managing the process. So just listen to Mr. Femi, who spoke on just a minute. He spoke on I'm sorry, that's not actually it's part of the recycling as a solution to the general and social. That is where we addressed. And for my research, he doesn't see waste, he sees resources. He sees resources, so he sees money. And we have to give us the pillars that could let the process on that way. Those two sources. Let's leave another question. This panelist is Mrs. Salami. Something because Lagos Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. What I have here for that present, unless it changes it, is the majority of those students for youth and women in Lagos. Usually, men are almost consulted. Thank you.
Good morning. Morning or afternoon now. Good morning, everyone. Yeah. The topic is the reality of waste to wealth for youths and women in Lagos State. We all know that Lagos State as a thriving state, has abundance of waste and an increase in the population, which created that waste. The first speaker has already mentioned statistical figures of the amount of waste we generated in Lagos State. We have no control over that. And we will try as much as possible to bring in more policies that can reduce the waste and convert that to wealth. The increase in population on daily basis, we have the propensity to accumulate waste, and currently Lagos has the waste to wealth initiative, where we all know that during the 2023 July 26, the state government also initiated a policy on circular economy hotspots. I don't want to start giving out the definition of circular economy. We all know that it has to do with the number of waste we have, converting it to recycling processes and remanufacturing that and beginning up. The various organizations in Lagos State have registered with various ministries and has taken both steps in giving the government initiatives on how to convert waste to wealth. We have almost 7 others that has supported us in Lagos State to be able to convert circular economy effectively. We have various means of actions which we have also mobilized: economic development, employment policies, training, social inclusion, transport and land development, sustainable development, education, energy, and climate. What am I saying here? For Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, what we do more is how to sustain women in development, how to give economic development for women and youths. For circular economy to come on board with us, what we need is more of advocacies and sensitizations. I want to tell you that women and youth and children out there in Lagos State, some of them don't even understand what circular economy is all about. Don't forget that this circular economy initiative and policies are just coming up, and we need to make a lot of noise about it to every household in Lagos State to understand that when in a household, in a family, for a woman, when you work in your kitchen, you have 2-3 types of nylon bags: one for the plastic, one for the wrappers, one for bottles, one for other things. You should also support those people, the scavengers, or those people that recycle things, to pick them at your entrance. You have the ones that contain the nylon. You can pick the ones that has the nylon wrappers easily without having to start sorting out. You can pick the ones that has bottles, the plastic PET bottles. You pick the one contains PET bottles. You pick and you know where to go for recycling. Scavengers will do less work trying to do sorting out. We at the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, we do a lot of advocacies and sensitizations. We can come on board and make sure that circular economy is known to everyone. The governor has also, thank God for this year, we have also added another year. It was initially a policies agenda, but there's now a Teams Plus. The Teams Plus means that we have social inclusion and gender equality. It's not only about Ministry of Women Affairs, we deal with small issues as well. So we can always come on board with for social circular economy to make sure that we do more of publicity. What we need now is publicity of this circular economy. A lot of people don't know what it means. A lot of people don't know what it's all about. A lot of people don't even know how to even source this waste to convert to wealth. I'm sure, and I can beat my chest and clarify that once every woman out there know what it is, you have less people doing the sorting out, because the sorting out will come from their kitchens and the sorting out will come from their homes. And then we can get hot numbers where we can create, we can even have a unit in our ministry. If you once you have waste in your home, you want all the recyclers to pick all this number. Someone will go at your doorstep and will pick it. And before you do it, as much as more women knows, the market women are aware. And there was a period, the First Lady went to one of the markets and spoke about circular economy as well. I want to recall the name of that market. She was there, she spoke to market women also about circular economy. But we women at one time, once you say something more in the morning, I even some women have forgotten. But when we keep taking it to us from our kitchen, we sort it out. So what I want to say for this presentation is that Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation can do more of advocacy and sensitization, and that is where the reality of the ways to wealth for youth and women in Lagos State will be well and easily articulated. Once we get the women and the youth on board and they are well sensitized and informed, we want an informed population now. Once they are well informed, I'm sure circular economy will be an easy thing to actualize. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. I was about to ask you views on the fact that Lagos State created a ministry for women. But when you said it covers issues of men as well, I'll let it go. And I'll let you go again because you said women has most waste in their kitchen. We are not monitors. In instance, I'll let it go. I'll let it go. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Salami. Yeah, you see our most speaker, Mr. We're speaking of policy and governance in circular economy. Sir, 10 minutes.
I want to appreciate the existing protocol. I will be speaking on policy and governance. I would first like to make certain affirmation. Policy is supposed to provide a strategic framework that will be able to look at it in a holistic manner for clarity, understanding, and purpose. Policy must also reflect what I call the features, values, and an advantage. And policy must also be some level of appreciation, and there must be a clear understanding, sense of purpose, and direction. That is the essence of what policy. Governance, what cannot be measured cannot be controlled. We ensure a proper structure that will be able to interact, create an interface with people, recognizing their roles and responsibility, and also come with what I call SMART concept, which is being specific, measurable, achievable, time-bound. The real issue the policy and governance should attract. But what have we been going on? I rather want to see policy we've been going on in Nigeria as too elitist. We talk too much of English. And also I see a policy from a round-robin point of view. It's like people now come from one point to another and just take two or three English. Rather than there are a lot to it that comes to policy. We are not specific about policy as related to circular economy, which is a good concept. I want to also tell you what are we looking at? We're looking at a clear understanding of circular economy. I've said most of what we do is too elitist. We need to come and talk in the language people understand and appreciate. Remember, what is the level of literacy level of our people? And the people that dwell in mostly with these states understand their own common language. I think come to bear when we interact with them. We can see the issue of policy. To handle policy, I give kudos to them in the academic, but I see it as just, you change English, it goes with that. How are we connected to the root? How often do they go to Abattoir market? How often do they go to interact with the people who are pickers? How often do they go to those ends? Because I'm also a media person. I do a lot of media work. And for you to be able to talk on the media space or radio and TV, you must know your onion. You must go to them. You don't allow them to come to you. I'm not trying to look at, I'm just laying it down. I'll be very fast now. I'm laying that down. Background must reflect a clear sense of purpose and direction. It must do a bit of profiling of the waste. When people have understanding of the waste, they can be able to profile. And from that, when we do that, we now begin to look at the business issue in it. Because once people know that feature and advantage is easy for them to appreciate. Engagement. Madam has spoken about civil engagement. How are we engaging the people? Engaging should come from a private point of view. And engagement comes in communication. You receive it's some code and decode. Somebody send the message. You have to have a understanding and feedback. Are we taking in a holistic term? Then from there, we now begin to talk about legislation, because no matter the policies you have, if there's no legislation, It does nothing to, to empower it. Policy becomes on paper. But what we're seeing is this. If the legislation is an issue, are we looking at? The decision we're seeing in Nigeria is revolved around nay and I. These nay and I are not connected with our problem. Some of them don't even know. They don't have no idea about what they're saying nay and I. Seriously, we're talking about, we're not beginning to look at who. Never don't like that understanding of what is involved in terms of the business organization alignment, in terms of creative value creation, in terms of the undergraduate and citizen education, in terms of research cooperative, in terms of public administration. Those are the issues. And clear understanding will bring out to them. When I begin to talk about one-year policy, you can't just sit down and go and see the policy they've done in Asia, in Indonesia, in that. This is what we get. By the time we get it, even if you go to it, you see a lot of what I call plagiarism. Circular economy should be domiciled to the root. It is how will the people who are pickers, who are scavengers, how will they feel it? The problem we have is this: we're talking about life asset cost analysis, but the value chain we created is a skewed approach, because most of the value chain is supposed to be a pyramidal approach. The values in the business will have dissolved themselves before it gets to actually do the job, and nothing. That's why there's an apathy. That's why they do a lot of things. And then too, at the end of the day, we're even engaging people who are picking. I think I told you, go to it with their hand, diseases, and we don't even know that the houses also are vulnerability to cancer. Going to say now that before we do this policy, we must engage all inclusive stakeholders. Firm must be there, emphasis must be there, what you have knowledge very, very important. Knowledge is research and development, and all people that sit on a citadel, it's people that sit there that they are also part of you. Don't sit in your office, don't sit in your cozy office and begin to do establishment, you begin to do progression. I like the projection, but please leave the projection sometime. Go to where the people are, go and ruffle yourself. You feel the pulse of them. So it will involve your statistical analysis. Now, I'm not beginning to talk about technical. Technicals are bringing technology, they're bringing innovation, they're bringing creativity. Technology is about what you garbage in, you garbage out. But you have clear understanding also. We're talking about development partner. In Nigeria, three things has really affected most of our policy. Ethnicity affected our policy, religion affect our policy, and cultural orientation affect our policy. We look at quite a lot of issues that are not issue to me. And we look at when we're saying we're going a global perspective. Discrimination. The person does not matter. Where doesn't matter. It's what you are contributing, ingenuity. Africans were very intelligent. Those people that didn't go to school, they have a native intelligence that if we have harnessed it, research and development become more profitable. We should ask ourselves, the policy we are doing, how much of the research and development has actually involved into development? In Nigeria, for instance, we are blessed with all resources, but we are also blessed with attendant multidimensional poverty. We talk about that we generate between 60 million waste in Lagos. In some places, it's go to about 64. If you go to Ajangbadi, I know some of you will not be there because some of you are elitist. How old are you going to do? You understand? When you sit and you begin to say, we work on gold, yet we are very poor. Why are we like that? Because we have a hierarchical, a pyramidal approach that also the values and prospects have already gone. Now, we're not talking about what are we looking at policy. Policy must promote circular economy and they promote until it promotes a sustainable power and prevents waste. That is when it promotes it. And the question we're going to see, even the people who are doing policy to it, they're saying the citadel of this, of eco-friendly product are you using yourself? Class of eco-business are you patronizing? The thing is that when they want to bring that specification, is always a certification of British certification, American certification, and you see you're doing eco design. How can you do the design? How much of the risk they do? They're going to do a lot of things in this. We don't use. Look, what I'm saying is until we decide what we do, until we make use of what we practice here, the capacity still continue. What can we do? Your oil is like 10 to 25%. 75% go on a daily basis of unprocessed material. So this must practice, and the policy must be a reward system. And what people who are involved in reuse and recycle, Have you ever come to a case when we have a kind of to honor them? Have you come to a case when we have conference, we need to promote them, to give them balance? And we begin to recognize people who are doing what is right, the right time, every time, and also patronize them. Remember, until we create permission, remain poor. Yet, what we know is you see, when you begin to follow the money they are talking about, I know I'm not talking about that. We have to be very careful. Now, the question is, what are we looking at the policy? What is it also enforce regulation and standard? Said, what cannot be measured cannot be controlled. How have we standardized what we're doing? Tomorrow we're doing 50 naira. Tomorrow we're doing 150. Do you know what schools have done? When your people are paying 19 naira, 15 naira, they're paying 150. And they are getting away your resources. Somewhere we call restriction process, you make it. And you know you pay next to nothing for cheap. And you say you are in waste. Which waste are you? When you more than 60% of you. Most of people are doing recycling at this place. They are just 20%. Most of the work has been now 80%. Look, what I'm saying is this circular economy is ability to generate over 4 trillion. Be very specific. Which is 4 trillion in the sense that navigating to other economy, we won't go to the sea, go coastal infrastructure. So there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of job opportunity, but what I also continue to see, we have to do a lot of social relation, clear understanding, and also our policy. Don't subject it to legislation of May and A. May and A has done more harm than to us. Because these people don't have an idea of what we're doing until we begin to be to appointment. Many places in what we do, until we're pragmatic, using the workable archaeology at all points in time, until we come to an open accountability. Look, I don't believe in any data that comes to Nigeria with respect to this idea. Is it MBS? Because I do a lot of statistical projection. You cannot rely on the data. But you research A&D people, what are you doing? Which PhD are we talking about? When your PhD have not transformed the life of 7 people, 13 million. That are even running like that. Because more than that, psychiatric crisis in this Nigeria, and we say so. I believe that all of us have to contribute our own part to ensure Nigeria get to another level. That belongs to you if you do. It's not enough Nigeria, in Nigeria we want to see. Let Nigeria to the past, what happened to us, let new Nigeria begin to happen to if you miss anything, you can always in passion. I was sitting across the yesterday, and I was just some gospel. Even I was in the new speaker, I was there. He has this passion, the meetings work, he has this passion, he speak grammar. He was doing that with the so I said yesterday. And the same time as we said, we thank you very much, sir. So let's have the one that perform. Thank you very much. Another panelist is Mr. Abdul. You represent Mr. Ted Walker of Aswell. Aswell is also a master class of Lagos. So you have 10 minutes to present.
Okay. I was given picking, sorting, and trading in waste. How do we pick? I love his presentation very well because if you go to the street, you see the pickers. If he's going with his car, he'll be saying gongo, aluminum condemn, iron condemn. The language we understand is what? Aluminum condemn, iron condemn. So if you have aluminum condemn, bring it. If you have what? Iron condemn, bring it. So you have to start telling me about scientific meaning of that aluminum and that what iron. You tell me, I don't know. Because what you understand that it was being taught to understand is aluminum and what? And iron. Now, as well, we have our responsibility for our members. One of the responsibilities is advocating for waste pickers' rights and likewise what benefit. We've been doing that a lot. We've been trying our best on that, and at the same time, reminding our members to move forward. Number, we also have bringing waste pickers into the mainstream of ensuring that members play a central role in drafting policies and law which affect their what livelihood. As you can see that we are seeing that today in the part of the discussion. Now, we are the pickers. The pickers are the person that move from one particular place to the other to get waste materials. We will use also for what? For recycling. Now we have for their own personal use. Sometimes we have what is known as what Nigeria use. We also have it what in the concept of our what waste. Sometimes they put mattress and some other material and they send it out to either Oyo State, either to Katsina and Kano for further what use. In our language, we call it what Kanumboswa. In our normal we say Nigeria what, as we have taken the rest of what Nigeria what is no for something. A personal life also we say for further what personal what use. Now what do we pick? All type, let me do this way, type of what pickers. We have the solid waste pickers. What they are mostly concerned about is all about there are the unwanted okay. We have type of waste pickers there. We have the solid waste, we have the plastic waste, we have the metal waste, we have the carton and waste papers, we have the wood waste, we have the nylon waste, we have the sackback waste, we have the fabric material waste. We also have hair waste, medical material waste, electronic waste. Do we get that? Now for the solid waste, our picker mostly picks something like nylon. We have a nylon, carton, and knit tissue as such. They pick such sort of materials for their own work, for the livelihood wood. Now we also have types of pickers. I don't know waste time on that. We have types of pickers. We have the street pickers. We always see them move from one particular place to the other. You see them moving, carrying carts from one particular place to the other. We also have waste pickers who target waterways. You see them along the waterways, picking gutters. You see them. I'm having their pictures there. They go to the waterways and likewise they'll pick materials from there. You also have the terminal pickers, and likewise they target mostly the garage. They target mostly the garage and likewise the passenger terminals and where we load materials. That's where they do their own picking. We also have the market pickers. You find them in the market picking their materials there. We also have the dump sites and the pickers. We only see them in the dump sites to pick materials. We also have the household pickers, the target estates and etc. as such. We also have the barracks pickers also. We're happy today the navals and the military also joining us to be part of what pickers. We also have the factory pickers. We also have the school pickers. I was there when I was moving around. I saw some kind of package within the school of which they are doing picking some kind of material. We also have the highway pickers. You find them along these highways. If you go to Shagamu Expressway, you go to Solo, you find them picking what they after picking raw materials, recycling material like bottles, nylon, and etc. As so, I have their pickers. I have their pictures here. Hours of picking. If we are looking at hours of picking, please, it's going to be put into consideration of what military policy also. We can move from 6 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. depending on the area of picking. Some also do night work, which is not encouraged. Hours of picking cannot be determined for some pickers because the quantity of kilogram of material determine their take. Some of that pick will be discouraging them on that. We don't want night picking again. You are picking at night, people will continue suspecting you. Item use, according to what they said the other time, most of the items we are using to pick, we are not encouraged. Now, for example, now sack bags locally made by pickers. We have our bags. We call it a kwala me uku. Kwala me uku in the sense that they use a rice of bag to do that. It may be 3 or 4. They'll just sew it together and to start picking. We also have carts of which Lagos State, we are now in different with Lagos State for that today. We also have recycle, some use recycle, some use bicycle, some use metal to pick. When they're picking iron and aluminum and whatever on the ground, they use metal to do that. Some use hand gloves and hand gloves, some use also use marks and bunch to do their picking. Now, let me go to the next one. Next sorting. Now, after they pick everything. Sometimes when they go out, they pick everything. Iron, nylon. In nylon, we have different kind of nylon. We have our own language we use in nylon because my guy is there. When we talk of nylon, we have alamoko. We tell them the name. We don't give the other PPO. If you tell them PPO, they will tell you, you're not in your PPO. That's what alamoko. We have alamoko. We have bottled water pack. Just tell them that bottled water pack. That nylon pack. Nylon pure water. These are the language of food we understand in our own words, in our own. Now, when they go out now, they pick. And after they pick everything. The nylon, the aluminum, some of them won't get gold. They'll pick everything together. After they pick, they will now sort it. And then a particular person of which they will now go to meet in the hub. We call them chief picker. Or sometimes we call them sorters. Now, he's not going to buy from them. And that's where the concept of the price comes in. As we go forward, the price continue to increase or decrease, depending on the channel of the pricing. For example, if you're selling to the organ, known as the chief picker, the price may be very, very low. I can't go today, Alip is here. They are buying at the rate of 175 naira per kilo. That's the company price. Now, from the company now, that is the circular price to the to the sorter or to the aggregator. The aggregator also less the price. The aggregator may buy at the rate of 100 naira, while the sorter may buy at the rate of 75 naira from the picker. And then it comes down. Now, for the sorters, is the Oga, we call him Oga, is the one that will now sort everything. Will now sort the aluminum, the copper, your wire in your house. Today, the company price for wire for the copper is 5,100. For aluminum is 1,000 naira. Your can of which you throw away today, the price the company price 1,000 naira. Why the picker may buy from me at the rate of 500 naira from you, it's going to sell to the assorter at the rate of 600, the total sell to the aggregator at the rate of 700, the aggregator take it to the company at the rate of 1,050 naira. There are stages of trading for that. Now, the amount it will not sort, that female or male is going to sort. After sorting, the copper will be different, everything will be different. Our language mostly gram and kilogram. 1 kg, how much? Okay, how much for 1 kg? 1 kg now 300 naira. You understand? It's all about what kg. Now the cost of the kg you get from that particular day is going to be what is going to take home. Even papers, the office paper. Sometimes we tell them to go and target office paper. You bring office paper to us, and we measure that word for them based on the on the kg. So the sorter will now categorize, analyze all the materials, all the waste material in a different form. So we have the example here, but I cannot be able to do that because of the 10 minutes, because of the time limit I was being given to. Now let's go to the trading. It is the normal trading. It's all about buying and selling method. You bring to me, I buy from you, I pay you immediately. And that's why it's one of the best ones. I can't go to that. I can see Madam here today. We are working. We pickers are working, and we are eradicating a lot of poverty in our society. There are companies coming to us, giving us a lot of package besides the NGOs. I have mothers today in Festac. They call me afar. You go to many of them. Mothers in Festac today of the suppliers material, we pay them immediately. One woman even said, I didn't have known you for a long period of time. I should have gone far. The NGOs will come to them, tell them, give me PET bottles, give me paper, give me carton. I'm going to pay you back by a kind of collateral security. I'm going to give you what's it called? Either phone, either this electric home appliance. I'm going to give you. At the end of the day, they will not see them. We have many of them like that. But in our business, bring your market to pay you. No money, no market. And that's what the company will supply. My capital base is not to $1 million, but I supply more than 150,000 market every day. Because you get your money immediately, you buy, you sell, your money turn back to you immediately. One of the best ways of eradicating poverty in our society. You see all that's coming today. A woman working for Loma, she has made a profit of 6,000 naira from iron. She gave me 23 kilos of iron, and I measure for her a rate of 250 naira per kg. As aggregator price. Because sometimes we may give them the sorting but she was happy. So if she can get 6,000 multiplied by 4 in a month with her salary, she'll be able to do her job, and she can move on. And for that, she can easily move on her life. Many of them today are using it to sustain their children. I was in a particular place in Festac to go and solve because they were having problems. I have to follow my boys down sometime to the particular to Festac. They won't allow them to come in. So I now bring my ID card as a waste picker. They will not allow us to go in. I was not there. We were not trying to do something for the mother. The child now came. I said, Mom, what is all this rubbish for now? And I for them. I said, come. They said we should go to school. I go to school. To the extent that school said, no say I go. But later, I said, now the practical aspect of life matter most. Not mommy is like, I know most of our children today are mommy is like, daddy is like. Most of you have the mentality of it's like. Also to the bowler, I drop my office work, I go down to them, sleep with them, eat with them, do everything with them. And for that doing that, I was able to get everything about the business. And I was doing it today, and I thank God for that. So let's go to the trading. We're wasting our time. So we have the owners. The owners now, they are now exposed now. We now find out in them now. But then you get the kilo shell. I know to just I'm going to shell now. Kg. They'll tell you how much are you going to buy the kg. But that's why I say we have different kind of price for that. So when this boss goes down in Ontario, bring money. But our advice is more better you scale in kg. When I was there yesterday, A man called me that he's having material to work to sell. And I said some of my boys there to go and meet them. And the guy went there, they bought the material at the rate of 28,000 naira. There's a rod. A particular building was destroyed, and at the same time, they went and bought it. They bought the rod at the rate of 28,000 naira. I'm not exposing the education of our business, though. They bought it at the rate of 28,000 without weighing it. But then not knowing the price in the market. Those guys made 50,000 naira yesterday. Then when we measure it, we realize that it was 380 kg at the rate of about 270 naira. Because it is rod, not pangolo. Because we know we have we have pangolo, we have what rod. So we have the channel. We have the channels for our trading. We have the owners, he can sell, and at the same time, he can give it out. We also have the pickers. The picker can pick from there. We also have the sorters. The sorters is your guard there in the hub. We also have the aggregator. The sorter can get his finance from the aggregator. Can finance the sorter to sell. We also have the recycling company. Other channel, we also have the from the owner direct to the to the aggregator, from the aggregator to the recycler. We also have from the owner direct to the aggregators, and at the same time to the to the recycler. We also have the owner to the recycler. That was the problem we're having today. Most of the foreigners come to our doors to come and start advertising their goods, or start advertising to our people to sell to them. And if you allow that to come in, going direct to them, definitely we are going to have shortage of jobs for our people. Because most of the time, our people also go for plan B of this materials, picking this material. I have teachers, I have many people like that, of which when they finish in the morning, they come in every time to come and pick, and they get their money. After that, left his job, now doing our job. What he does is he goes to target estate and pick from estate. And the guy is making close to 150,000 every month. Just picking can, carton, aluminium, copper. The guy will come every day. And at the same time, when he's coming with prayer. That salary worker, blessing to the people, because I let him understand there's a between wage, a salary and lifestyle at the same time, profit. Don't depend, fight to your plan B. As you make profit, you also make your salary. Now we also have from the other stage, from the picker to the sorter to the aggregator to the recycler. You also have from the picker to the aggregator to the recycler. You also have the from the pickers to the recycler also. Some of the time, like Dragon, let me mention companies. Dragon buy directly from our boys. And they will never give them the sorter price or the aggregator price. They buy directly, those boys take the truck down to them and they buy directly from them. For that, it's shortening the job for the aggregator and likewise for the sorter. So we also have the sorter, the aggregator, and likewise the recycler. We also have the recycler and likewise the sorter. For me not to waste too much of time on that, I have other things to even show, but because of the time factor, let me just round the whole thing up. Now we have the step. Disposal for waste material, picking of raw material by the pickers, sorting of materials in order of relation, scaling sorted material for cash or any other agreed form of payment, e.g. payment per kg, your accumulation of sorted material by the sorters, fabricators, and recyclers for cash and final utilization. Waste picker provide usable material. Okay, our benefits. We provide usable materials. Waste picker creates jobs. We create jobs. Recyclers and what if recycler will call them to come and carry our market and etc. as such. Waste pickers helps in cleaning up the environment. To do that, look at our boys along the ways. No protective elements. NGOs will come and tell us story. When they come to me, I'll tell them raw storyline. They'll come with a package, with a good package. At the end of it, you will not see anything. The next one, waste picker prevent marine waste pollution. We do that a lot. Some of my boys they call it Bakinrua. That is a language they understand. Baki, the bank of water. In the morning, when they wake up in the morning, they go to the bank of water because they know as something is flowing, they pick from that particular channel. Waste picker contribute to the GDP of a nation. We don't know that today. Madam is here today. We contribute a lot of GDP. Somebody is making 150,000 just for picking. People even see no dignity of job. What to carry, Olon Shale, or the Badun. Olon Shale, Olon but the guy is paying now inside first tax. His guy is paying his house rent at the rate of 250,000 to 300,000 naira. Through what? Picking. Now the next one, lower the potential of contamination and many benefits of which we have. We also have problems. A lot of our guys are here. One, poor pricing method from buying company. Alif is doing very well. You see him smiling. We appreciate you for that, for your good pricing, having the best price. I suppliers that I got around 322,000 from 2 tons of PET bottles. Now, number two, safety hazard at work environments. Nobody is training. We're not training them on how to what. In our own language, oh, this is how you do it. They don't want you to when you come, they will tell you to Renchi. They will tell you English language. You are just telling them, Mama, we're family later. I don't come, you don't come, so I the next one, on government policy. On Sunday, 5 of our cats were being arrested. We don't know them. Farah from Loma said they are not the one. Farah from Oda, they said they are not the one. We don't know the agents. They came and take the cat and take it away. I don't know what is happening, but that we'll not be able to expose that for now. Lack of regulation by the government and the society. They don't. You pick. I know what I passed through in doing this job. Even my wife now tell me, my first small job, you know, but later, at the end of the day, she's now saying she wants to what? Join job. Now, long hour of work. We have longer, our boys don't have time, and that's why we're trying to control that. The local government chairman of Amur Dofi, I won't say they want to be seeing our boys around 4 o'clock, and we're working on that with all the other agencies that could easily help us for that. Drug abuse is one of my challenges on that, because sometimes my mind, I'm having children. You don't want to go out to take, some of them take a lot of what drugs, and why? They move for a long distance. See a boy from my 2 to a solo trekking. From my 2 to a solo, they will trek to go and pick. But us, we have no what. Now the next one, lack of welfare package by company generating waste consumable items. None of them will ever see to come and what appreciate what we are what. Even since the government don't appreciate, they will never what appreciate what cost. Foreign threats now. You see the Chinese coming, you come, give me 2 kilos, I give you this. They come to the what to us every time, come to our boys directly. And the whole something is that they are using our what job. Shortage of seminar, training, and proposal for our members. We can do that along the street. In the language of which they what, they understand. Do that in the language. They don't need to rent it, they don't need English. Tell them, this is how you are going to what? Do it, and we understand it very well. Rejection of waste sorted materials from the circular company. We have it a lot today. Government don't know that we are playing a better role. Today, they reject a lot of what our programs of our project have been rejected, especially the robbers. The one coming from all this Ogidiga, Aluma, and all those things. Companies are not buying. Alif is there. You can tell us they are not buying. I'm not buying. They are not buying from us. And I think people will be here today to help us. So I can tell you that openly tell the people. We bought this in every day, which is as largest to the environment. We leave that particular thing to play. If you go back to the world, ocean, and nobody speaks the world option that to burn this thing at night. That's why we come and speak English, we'll come and read tomorrow. After they leave, that is reality, we'll burn it at what? Night. One of our members is having up to 20 tons of this material, nobody to buy. 20 tons at the rate of 15 naira. What does it mean? Huge amount of what? Money. So we look at on that particular. So in view of this, of the above, it's high time to see the importance of waste pickers in the circular economy of Lagos and ensure their dignity are recognized through policy making and identifying their contribution towards the economy. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Abdul has really brought it down to us. Most of the speeches we've had in the last 1 or 2 days has been on to go back to the pickers. Now the pickers are here. And he has made effort to tell us exactly how it goes. But 2 things. You say your workers work between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I've seen your workers working 4 a.m. in the morning. Picking is strange. Please. Because they get paid per kilogram, they want to put longer hours. Okay. Okay, because they'll be free. But what the teacher said, and trust me, is that this in creates jobs, environment, waterways, increase GDP. That's my interest. I think I have membership form here, because I want to seriously. I want to pitch a join. Okay, I'll press for. Thank you very much. Let's go on our press for. We are very successful to us. And now visit for the session. Like yesterday, I just started to go into focus on the discussion like we did yesterday. And I looked at the class into 2 groups. Those are the same grouping. If you have to take, sorry, before that, let's take questions, comments, and observation, please. As number one, number two, number three, 4 months, 5 stars, 6 months, 7 stars, 8 stars. We have 8 persons. So I'll start with number one, please. So 9. Okay, let's close on that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Right, my recordings. Okay. Okay, so you have to use this because of this online.
So once again, I said, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm starting with the last speaker. Yesterday, you were not here, but I advocated for your group. But the question I want to ask is, what are you doing about the pickers, especially in the area of the metals? You come out of your house and the barricade on your drainage is gone. They have removed it. They are removing the rails. So most railway lines, the rails are being removed. Your fence, every metal, they steal them. And it is because of the amount of money they get from, picking and selling this metal. So what are you doing about it? Even if you have registered members, I'm sure there are people that are not registered that are picking and then giving it to the registered pickers. So what are you doing to mitigate this nuisance about stealing metals? Do you understand my question? Thank you very much.
Number 2, please. Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Vaida Didaro, and I'm so happy to be here today because all what I do is related to waste, particularly in the agricultural sector. Just like the first speaker said, it's a whole lot, particularly the health aspect. And if you drive along Lagos, of course, you see a whole lot of organic wastes wasting away. Well, we in University of Lagos, we are doing our own bits for our organic farm. We visit, we put vendors around, we collect waste, we decompose them within our own capacity, and we use them for our university garden. So that's what we do. For the last speaker, so happy with your presentation, but I'm just concerned because we listen to the four of you, the issue has to do with government. And it's so obvious that government can no longer help anyone. Most people that are having their desire or their objective being accomplished by the government has to do with lobbying and a whole lot of and all that. Who we are in this side of the country, just like the top speaker said, that we need to strategize. Of course, the problem is endless when it cuts across. And we all have been talking about holistic system of strategy, collectiveness, synergy, and all that. My question is, what can we do to solve this problem? We've gone beyond the challenges narrative, the problem. He suggested it. What can you as an individual? Because I recall there was a time I carried out a research and I have to talk to the government officials, particularly the extension officers. The farmers, because there are no vehicles, they don't give them any money for anything for transportation. They don't even have, if a farmer has a problem and contact an extension officer, he or she is helpless. He can't solve the pest problem, the infestation problem that the poor farmer is experiencing, talk less of converting, going to compost and all that. We have been signatories to this international convention, and domestication has become a problem, and we've agreed that, okay, let's look inward and be passed down. So how do we translate, cut across? Then for this last speaker, I'm also saying that what are you doing for your waste pickers? Particularly the health aspects. As association, what do you have
Should somebody get injured? What? Should somebody died among the members? What to as association? To make one, yes. But is the money commensurate with what's the other insurance and social other things that they need to have a good livelihood? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma.
The number three, okay. You? Thank you very much. My question is riding on the first question, and I think that's a big problem. Vandalization, theft, and the likes. You see, these people will vandalize your bin, even to some of us that have this bin, this plastic bin covered. They vandalize it just because they want to pick something. And even when they pick, they even bring them out and scatter them outside and leave it there for you. And there is this sense of entitlement that they have. This sense of entitlement. When you say, come on, leave that place, they're like, what's the problem? So they have this sense of entitlement as if they must do it. You don't allow them, they even become violent. And that is why estates and streets associations are chasing them away. They cause more problem than the other. Yes, I understand. But of recent, I just have a thought that, oh, these people are taking job away from organizers. Less tires are being deflated with nails. Yes, they do that, and we appreciate that. But they cause more problem. Thank you. Please address that. Thank you.
Thank you. That's number 3. Number 4.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank my panelists for a wonderful presentation this morning. The first presenter, when you spoke about the organic waste not being accepted by the government and some companies, I wanted to know what form your waste was produced into. That is the former, the final state of your waste. Because if you look at it, if the packaging and the ability to store it is not there, these people will not want to take it. That is compared with the fertilizers that are already produced. So maybe you should look at your packaging and the ability for storage. Maybe that's where your problem is. Because I watched a video of somebody who was converting organic waste into tablets, such that you could store them like soaps. Maybe you should look at the story, the form that you're producing it into. Then also I want to thank my second speaker too, speaking about the women being some of the producers of waste in the kitchen, because a lot of waste is generated from there. But we've been hearing about bags coming, these recycling bags for waste. Since the time of Fashola, we've been hearing it has never come. But what we are thinking is, why don't we just get people sensitized in the first place to start sorting their waste even before the bags come? Because we're just waiting for the bags, they never come. So let people be sensitized to start sorting their waste. They should pay fines. In other countries, I was in the US one time in a family's house, and I was cleaning chicken, and I was about to pour the entrails into the waste bin, and they screamed. And they said, no, don't do that. You understand? It's supposed to go into this particular thing. You understand? Because right at the point where we are disposing it, if we mix up our waste, we'll be fine. The waste will not be carried. So right now, when the government starts that people should start sorting their waste even before the bags come. Don't mix up. If you mix up your waste, it will not be carried. And if you bring it that way, you'll be fined for it. So let's get people to even begin to sort in the first place. Then as per policies, the third speaker, we have heard so much about policies. In Nigeria, we have more policies than we have humans. You understand? It's execution, it's always execution. And like he said, if it doesn't go inclusive, that is, what are the people already doing? You understand? How can we scale up what they are doing and then see how we can solve these problems? We should stop looking at it from the top part. The government always comes with top-down approach. It should be bottom up. That is the only way we can solve our problems. And then for the last speaker, I'm glad that a lot is happening concerning of waste. But recently, I've been looking into child pickers. And when I say child pickers, we have children now playing a game now. They take bottles and they take out the of the cups. It's not just children in public schools, children in private schools. Every family has children doing that form of waste. It's an informal waste thing. This was done by my son, and he's done several of them already. And sometimes they go up to 200 bottles, picking the rooms, and all that. So children are doing this. When are we going to, because we don't have enough pickers, especially at the point of production. Let's not wait until they are disposed and they now get mixed up and dirty and all that. But at the time when they are being used, we need to sensitize the children in the primary schools, the secondary schools. They can make this waste. What incentives can you give them, even at their youthful age? Children can stop the waste bottles from getting even into the waste bin. If all children in schools are giving something as incentives to them, they can do it. And already I'm working with some students and we're trying to see what can we do for children. Is it that we can convert these things into games for them, or something that children themselves can be pickers. And there's too much waste in Lagos. Solutions we need, a myriad of solutions. Any way we can get them from the top, from the middle, from the bottom, let us attack this waste problem and make it a circular economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That looks like the fifth lecture for the day. I want to start this, that you said that the moment of sorting should happen in the kitchen. And when you're about to do the act of sorting, I think maybe not in the kitchen, maybe the mind. Maybe before you generate the waste, you know this sorting should happen first in the mind, in your heart, that when you have this waste come out, you have to solve it before the art comes. Thank you. Remember the next person?
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the speakers for today. My contribution is speaking to the aspect of organic waste, because that's probably one of the most challenging waste we have. And the major source of organic waste is usually from the market, even before it gets to the home. And most times where you see refuse on the roadside is usually close to marketplaces. So I know the Ministry of Women and Poverty Alleviation, as well as Ministry of Youth and Social Development, to do a lot with these market women. Is it possible for you to have like mentoring? And I know they have a lot of association. So if you can have all those associations, the managers and the rest, if they can monitor and as well as tutor and educate their own members, rather than the ministries and a lot of professionals going there to talk to them generally as a whole, let's talk to those leaders, the stakeholders, then they can now step down to their members. It's a lot easier. He talked a lot about using local dialects. That is the best way to do it. You don't expect a doctor or a professor to go there and speak in Yoruba and Hausa to the different people there. But if you can select individually, you talk to the Yoruba, maybe they have a Yoruba association there. You speak to that group. You talk to the group that speaks Igbo, you talk to the group that speaks Hausa, then you can downsize that and speak to their own different group in the language that most appeals to them. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, all. I want to join others to thank you all for beautiful presentations. My comment is for the Mrs. Salami from Minister of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. Fortunately, he has spoken something about that, but I like you. You are honest to say that the ministry has not done much in the area of creating awareness. And why am I saying this? You said you visited one market. How many markets do we have in Lagos State? That is not enough. And you said you have not done enough. And I want to appeal, let it not be like child rights law. When it was adopted in Lagos State, you published a lot of flyers in different languages, simplifying it, but they were not distributed. They were not distributed. I visited the office one time and I saw heaps of them there. And I was asking why. So to join what he has said, I align to what he has said, but then you can also use jingles. You have either ministry or Department of Orientation. Go about with a bus or something like that with recorded messages. Let them go in different languages, because market women, most of them, they will not have time. And there are so many sources of dissemination of information. These days we use social media, but most of them may not have the kind of phone that will send messages to WhatsApp. But then you can use these buses or cars that have yes, in different markets to tell them to solve these things within their kitchens and all whatnot. And that's the only way you can achieve your aim. Now, for the last presenter, thank you very much. I learned a lot from you. In fact, I just disposed one engine of my generator free to the mechanic. If I knew, I would have kept it and I would have sold it. In fact, it would have added to my salary. Thank you for, I've learned something today.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's having difficult to submit news to people. But in reality, which has some as a message. It's not have to pass for that it becomes difficult. Is that last question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the privilege, sir. My name is Okoyemi Cottrell. I came relatively late, but regardless, I have this question that have been booming through my mind. And it is, I want to ask, what is the role of AI in revolutionizing recycling research and development?
Good afternoon. Are we afternoon morning? Okay, good afternoon. It has been so interesting discussion coming from the panelists and the audience. I want to just bring two perspectives into the discussion and move it with the waste speaker and the organic waste. The experience at the University of Lagos shows that even educating the educated require time and understanding. So if we are to educate the waste speaker, we need actually to understand their psyche and see the best way to get them on board. If we don't get them on board, these thefts and the rest cannot be isolated. It is a societal and integrated method. And why I said University of Lagos, here at the University of Lagos, we started recycling for over 10 years. And when we want to integrate the cleaner, what we did was to start with incentive, where they themselves consider themselves as part of the program. If you bring a quantity of waste and you are the best, you earn 5,000 in a week. And all where they used to keep our waste and catch it out, they started bringing it out. A person bring 2,000 in a day. I said, struggling to get where these pets. So what they do is that they are employed to clean. They see pet as money. They keep it all that is staircase. But when the incentive program started, they brought it out. Now we enroll them as part of the green ecosystem of the University of Lagos. On children education, next week, we are going to have the children sustainability hangout. The hangout is just to expose them to what is called sustainability in real time, where they will use their hand and convert plastic into products. If you go in long way, you know, when you have students to sort waste, people will talk to you about juvenile delinquency. You will just see them in the media. But when they use it as creative means, and they also see the product as value chain, the attention will be called onto it. The last aspect I want to pick from the organic waste is, last time people talk about organic waste, we just think that organic waste is all the same. It's wrong. You can treat all organic waste the same way. If you want to do your compost and you have organic waste that is high moisture content compared to your compost feed, it will affect.
the rate of decomposition will be fast. So there is need for education and research in terms of waste categorization, even when we want to deal with organic waste. I have the case of somebody that wants to do biogas and decided to go and harvest vegetable and put it together and said, this process will take you donkey years for you to actually achieve it. Why don't you adopt this method and that method? Lastly is the collaboration in terms of starting small and going big. For Lagos State, there is a need for us to see the synergy from the university environment or take a local government as a studies case and use your understanding to now expand. At times, the expansion of Lagos State, I don't want to, we all saw it yesterday, Lorna, Laseta, and she also mentioned it. Each time you go to the regulation center, see that they are overwhelmed. By the time you stop Lagos, how many of us are here? How many will do this? But when we take, let's take a local government. When we are dreaming of recycling happen, can we allow it happen in OSOD, Apapa local government? Can we all do the researcher, the financer, the founder, that we can refer and every other person can work with us together, we can actually achieve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And I want to also thank the panelists for their great presentations. My comments or question goes to the last speaker. And it's about dignity of labor. I want to know what you are doing or what you plan to do to ensure that these speakers are actually respected by the society. Because they are doing a lot to take care of the environment. And they're also doing a lot to make ends meet. So at least they should be proud of what they are doing. That's one. Then number two, it's about occupational safety. What plans do you have as to providing them with personal protective equipment? Because it is a public health issue. And once they are affected, we rest assured that the entire society would also be affected. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We start from him. In response to all the issues I have to do with you, they pass the mic down to you.
Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, thanks. For the stealing, even sorry to say, even in Aso Rock, the thief did there. I wouldn't you have them? We have them there. Yes, we have them there. So it's a kind of a thing of which, habits, not from the concept of thought, idea, plan, action, repeat of action, and at the same time becomes what? Habits. Whether you train them till tomorrow, some will still do that. But we have our plan for that. One of our plans is this: we are collecting data of all our members. We have hierarchy for that, from the state level down to the local government level, down to the units. So we are doing that. We want to know who you are. So we'll give ID card for that, for the registration. On that, we also we'll go to hubs to teach them, to train them on how to behave well. Upon doing that, some will still do it because it has become and it is a nature in them to do it. But we thank God to it as reduced drastically. Like my own boys, I will tell them, anywhere you are going, come there, that will put fear in his mind. I mean, CCTV camera, anywhere you tell CCTV camera is there, don't go and misbehave, because we have a case like that in the court. When we went to the courts, they were trying to see us as if we would dress and they say the way we appear to them. Now, the woman had to do something to, after paying them the 40,000 naira, they took us to court. I said, don't worry. And I've warned those boys before they pay the amount, the money. But when we go to the court, we explain everything. Ask, please, you said this guy has stolen something here. Where is the CCTV camera to confirm this guy has done this particular thing? And we only proof to prove that. One. Secondly, what case sometimes even your security or put it as the estate security. all our best sometimes to sell materials to them. I have a case of that also presently. Somebody went and stole his own mom grinding machine and said to us, to the boy, we did not do anything. And they came and arrested what? And they arrested the boy. At the end of the day, went to the police and explained to them. The guy want to buy and he's ready to what? He's ready to sell. At the end of the day, the policeman told us we should just go. That the case is what? A family what? Case. So how many cases like that sometimes people will complain? Check your security guys within that particular environment. We're not saying our boys are not doing that. We are doing, but we are trying to what?
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm going to intercept a bit. I apologize. We are going to continue this conversation in the vehicle. There is a coaster bus outside taking us to the industry. We really need to move now. The company needs our attention. I will be moderating this conversation and attending to all the questions in the vehicle. They'll bring us back in to pick our lunch. Please bear with us, please. All our panelists to be seated in front so that they can face everyone to speak. Thank you. Dr. Taiwo, please, you'll be leading us. The coaster bus is in here in the car park. The research instrument, please complete it. We'll pick it up in the vehicle. But if you're not going for the industry tour, we're coming back here. The bus is bringing us back here. We are just having a 1 hour industry tour at Maryland and we're back. I'm sorry.
Thank you.